What's cracking, everybody? It's your boy Lucky Loco coming at you to see what's cracking with everybody, man. It's been a minute. Let me see. So, let me take a look. The Wi Fi looks kind of weak, so I think it might have to hook up to a different thing because last time I checked the video, it was all choppy and sounded crazy. Let me see. Where's let's see, right there. Well, anyways, just went through a business application with the state of Washington. So we had a couple of Machete, what's cracking? Yeah, we had a couple of Chris from AZ, what's cracking, everybody? Yeah, so I just finished going through a business application through the state of where you've been hiding. Man, I've been super busy trying to figure things out of what's going on with. Is everything sound okay? Because last time I checked the video, it sounded all computerized and stuff, man. So if anything, I got to switch over the different Wi-Fi. Well, anyways, I need some prayers, you guys. We got a great thing going on. The state of Washington is helping me with a business plan. We just finished going through everything, and it's man, I really pray that it goes through. Um, It'll be a really big game changer when it does, and I'm praying that it goes through. To get this grant. The tribes got a super cool. Thank you. Um, so with this loan, not even a loan. I just found out it's not even a loan. So it's a grant. So a business grant is going out for Native American businesses, and they put me on this. Sounds funny. I don't hear you say here's. Here's your tables and pop-up tent. Oh man, that pop-up, yeah, the pop-up tent I got to use like once or twice, and the two of the legs broke. It was an older one, but I appreciate you, Machete. That was super dope. You let me come by the crib, come hang out with you, man. That was super dope, man. Um, but yeah, I just got off the Zoom meeting with the state of Washington. We're doing a whole business plan. Tomorrow, we're doing a whole different thing. Uh, we're I said we're getting everything going. There, I find out the second of what's January 2nd of what's going on. I start working at the man. You already know I'll never forget anything, bro. It's so I pray this business loan goes through. Not it's not even a business loan; it's a business grant. I just found out. So the lady that's doing the business grant is pushing for me to get everything done by the second. So the state of Washington's helping me with it. The people I did a catering job for, and it's crazy. She's the executive bank director or something like that for um, to make sure her job is to make sure because these banks get a certain amount of money to give out to businesses, but as you know the deny defund. Gonna start a podcast pretty soon. I expect. Man, you already know, Chris. I'll jump on with you for sure. Let me know. Um, so the banks, when you go for a business loan, I've been through a couple of them. They just laugh at you. So the crazy thing is that the government gives them a certain amount of money to give out to small businesses and to businesses of people of color. The minority is what they like to call us. So they give a few things to go out, and now they are now they now what her job is to make sure that these businesses get the dividends of what they're supposed to be given out, and then that's up to $250,000. So with her, after I did the catering job for her, she was like, "Look, I've had tacos, I've had this, I've had that. She's, I've never had an Indian taco. I've never met a business that does Indian tacos, that does desserts, burgers. I just started doing a lamb taco. Now I'm gonna. And the crazy thing is when I get in a few different things, is having the um of having the business loan go through or this business grant. but she's also okay. So her job is to make sure, and I'm getting off track. Her job is to make sure that everybody that gets their money the way they're supposed to, the where it's go. So her job is her and her crew. There's about 15 of them for the state of Washington. They go through the banks and see who they're loaning to. So now, if this grant doesn't go through, we're going through a whole different process to go through her business of the state of Washington, and her crew make sure that these grants, these business loans go through to the people that need it. So people with bad credit like me, and it's not even really that bad. It's just college debts that you have to, just college loans and all this other crazy shit that I had to pay off. I paid like 17,000 when I had when I had my restaurant, and I still owe, I think, like 11 grand or some shit like that. But it's either pay your business, pay your fucking college debt, or keep a roof over your head. So it's kind of obvious that, like, hey, look, my credit score is really good, but I'm in a fucking homeless shelter. So it's either that, or hey, look, I got a roof over my kids' head. Their kids are fed. I'm fed. And breaking even is what I've been doing for the past couple of years, ever since closing the restaurant. So breaking even, I've taken for granted. I've really taken that for granted, because without this hustle, without this stuff, I wouldn't have a roof over my head. I wouldn't be in this awesome ass longhouse right here. But it's so big things are going to be happening here pretty soon. I'll definitely keep you updated. This is what I really need in the food and beverage industry, is this opportunity. That's all I've been doing, is working for, is not giving up, going for catering, going for all this different stuff, going, keeping focused, staying out the mix, and having things work. Like, no matter how hard things get, I still get up and go out, and I'll go hustle. I'll go out and open up the food truck, open the trailer, open the pop up, like you said, a pop up tent, go do certain things. When the colder weather hits like this, I don't make much money off of it, but I do make a little bit, like enough to, it's barely breaking even. But as long as I have somebody by my side that helps out with the other portions of the bills, whenever she's up, she helps me. Whenever I'm up, I help her. I give her $300-400 to be like, hey, look here, so she doesn't have to feel the need to be like, hey, can I get some money? And it's the same thing with me too. Like, if I need gas for the generator, if I need gas for my truck, need a payment on my truck, she'll help out. Oh yeah, most definitely. Lucky Loco, I've been watching your videos on the missing woman. I think that's happening with this. I definitely believe there's something going on. There's quite a few, what is it, S assaults that have been going around it out of here, and there's definitely women being taken. I'm gonna definitely keep up on the stories of the missing and murdered Indigenous women. Um, there's a lot. There is a lot. So I'm doing these different stories, and not going to stop. I'm going to keep posting stories about the missing and murdered Indigenous women. A lot of people on the YouTube Yarda doing drama back and forth. I don't want to do that, bro. That's not what I'm not getting on the internet and doing all that. We're all halfway through in life, and spend a lot of it going back and forth and trying to getting into the mix with faceless people. You put yourself out there. This is public information. This is a public, people feel some type of way, and you know and the only thing I could think of is people like Savage Studios. Like, I'm definitely not putting myself in for likes and views just to put myself in danger, put my kids in danger. um you know i I don't want anything to do with that drama. I make a couple comedy videos, like with the Paradigm and the Mile High video, but It's nothing to where I'm insulting them. It's public information. I'm not putting anybody down. I'm not getting in the mix. I'm not pulling up on nobody. I want nobody pulling up on me. And just I want to show breaking barriers for Native Americans, breaking barriers. And yeah, and with Machete, I did I'll go over the documentations. I definitely read through it. It says that there's only documentation I have to show is that if I do get the grant, that I have to hold on to what I can't buy this food truck and then sell it within a couple. You know what I mean? Within a couple months of having it and flipping it, I have to buy a food truck and keep it for 2 years and however long I'm going to keep it. And you know me, I'm not selling nothing. Like, only thing I'm going to be doing is hustling food, and that's it. It's my passion. OnlyFans posted fried bread. Man, that'd be dope. People just looking at, ooh, look at that fried bread. But yeah, it's got my Hill Sick Nation. That's the one. My dad's side of the family. That's my dad's side. Pretty much lived in a place like this. I'm still doing the story. I'm doing more research, and it's crazy to learn all this stuff. Like Chris said, find out what the Pakwachin First Nation, and when it comes to longhouses, we used to live in longhouses like this. This is like right over here. There's like one set of family. Over there is one set of family. This side of the family. This side of the family. This family. Then there was also chiefs. There's like the chiefs, like the king, queen of the tribe. There was the shamans. There was the hunter gatherers. There was just a community that survived through everything from the beginning of time. So when it comes to the Pacific Northwest, it's like, if you think of anything like up there in Canada, it on the shoreline is like Seattle, basically Seattle, because it rains all the time. It's a dense place. It's a dark, gloomy place. So there's definitely a lot of hunting. There's a lot of fishing. There's a lot of different things. And then throughout the time, we learned how to preserve the salmon. And I'm going to do stories on that too. How to preserve the salmon, wind dry it, keep it so you can eat it throughout the winters. We lived in places like this. This is where we lived. There's always two fires going in the middle. Sometimes there's three. Most of the time it's two. So it's to keep the fires going, to live in a longhouse like that, to sustain the rain season, to the winter, the summer, and we lived right off the shores. So that was pretty cool. Just like, yeah, jerky fish, wind dry fish, yeah. So we, because what it is, they'll like fillet it out, put it through these. I'll do the whole story about it, but it still goes on because that fish is so good. Like you said, the jerky, like is definitely, me and my lady were talking about that because her family's from up there in Canada too. So, but yeah, it was definitely, man, this business thing. I definitely have to get everything set up. I got to buy a couple things to do, start cooking fried bread, doing shows about it. And just the other day, somebody that won the world's greatest, I think it was the world's best food cooked. His name's the Fat Pastor. He's putting Yakima on the map. And I just seen him yesterday when I was cruising in my truck. And he pulled up beside me. I was like, man, who's this person pulling up beside me, man? Does he want something? Like, he kept like pulling up beside me, and then he's like pulled up ahead of me, and I seen the Fat Pastor thing on the back, and I was like, oh, that's that world chef. For him to recognize me and be like, what's up, bro? And hit me up on Facebook, like, hey, it's good seeing you today. He's got the cooking show going. He was on the Master Chef years back. He got to meet Chef Ramsay, do the show, and he came back to Yakima, opened up a restaurant. COVID hit, he had to shut down his restaurant too. Um, And we did Taco Fest together, and he came over and bought an Indian taco. And for him to recognize my food, for somebody who, a fellow chef, but he's like more into like the fancy plating, and he's great at what he does. So he recognized me and was able to put everything together, and was it was nuts. It's really cool to be recognized by him, and it's really cool to have. I'm gonna ask him to do an interview or be on his cooking show, do my cooking, show him how to make the fry bread, um, and what I do. So for him to come up to Taco Fest, buy some food, he sent somebody else, and then he left a Facebook review. Was like, "Hey, look, Travis Lucky Bob ain't playing around. His food's delicious. You guys need to support him." Oh yeah, bake some jerky fish and sell it. Indigenous is to be preserved and told. Yeah, most definitely. And I'm really happy that these tribes are teaching the youth in the schools how to speak their languages, because from the research I've looked, um, for the Pakwachin First Nation, there's only 420 of us that are Pakwachin First Nation. So there's four. That's how small the tribe is. 420 people, and only 15 of them can speak the language. So they needed, like you said, documentation. Um, at least record, what the saying and pronouns like that. It's lucky local red chili egg roll. Man, that would be sick too. But yeah, there's a bunch of different stuff I'm going to start infusing food with. I'm gonna start doing more of like an hors d'oeuvre tray for businesses, for catering and stuff like that. So what I want to do, like you said, speak about the Native American culture, not really into the prison scene. Is kind of getting crazy. People getting whacked over stuff. People calling each other out, checking paperwork at the door, and all this other stuff. And having the mentality of still being locked up, or having the mentality of still being a gang member. And we all see what happens to people that keep carrying themselves or conduct themselves in that type of business, and it's not a good look. It's cool share stories like that, but to relive them and rehash them and still think that you have to be respected, like you're still in them level full yards. I get it. I still get PTSD from the prison yards. May not have been California, but prison is prison, jail is jail. I don't care where side of the map you're on. Colorado, California, Louisiana, or anywhere else, man, doing prison time, being taken away, having your freedoms taken away, and to risk your life and your freedom for whatever come up you're going to have is definitely not worth it. I definitely don't think it is. That's when I see people better their lives. And when I see people, that went through the trenches and made big time moves and became big time mobsters and then switch up, and congrats to them. They got their life together. They're not buried like a lot of the other mobsters. Like any type of crew, doesn't even matter if it's this side, that side, Italian, all this different stuff. It doesn't matter what kind of enterprise that you're in. There's death or prison, and that's the main thing. And to get off track, I definitely want to show Native American youth. I want to show youth that you can. I was never on mobster level, but I was also a crook by the book since I was a kid, and and being taught these ways of life, and was just a normality of selling marijuana, selling cocaine, selling heroin, just selling all these different things to make money, normalized the way of living. And it's a horrible way to live. It's you don't really make that much money, and it's to show these youth that you don't. I pray that a lot of them see stuff like this. It doesn't even have to be youth. It could be an adults with the youth mindset, thinking they still have to do this hustling. That's their only option, is to get out there and pick up a bag and start hustling. When there's a few have to impress people by gold chains and cars and all this other stuff. These are the wrong people to be hanging out with, because that stuff is so temporary and shortcut living that you risk putting yourself in prison, that you put yourself in harm's way, of getting whacked, robbed, all these different things that people don't talk about. Like when you get sent to prison, you lose your relationship with your children. You release you lose that opportunity to become the protector of your children, protectors of your mother, your grandmother, your grandparents, all over selfish reasons. And that's the reason why I want to have that voice. It may not be that voice of my channel will never blow up, and I'm fine with that. But as long as there's a couple people that will listen and share a story of growth, of coming out of a horrible situation, making the best of it. I don't have that much time left on this earth. So what I'm doing for my kids is showing them a better way. That's where I'm starting at. Is home. If it affects the YouTube world, the YouTube Yarda, and that affects anything else, that's cool. But as long as you see at home what I'm doing and teaching my youth, teaching my kids to stay out of harm's way, to stay out of that type of mix, then it works for me. My son, my oldest son, he took off, ran away, went gang banging. Now he's not claiming. Now he's 20 years old, about to be 21 in a couple of days. So happy birthday to little Lucky. But he's sees the path, but he also needs to start seeing the path that I'm taking now to better my life, better my community, better the people, get out of the stereotype of and alcoholism. Yeah, it does happen on the reservation, and there's a few of them. There's a few of them on the Yakima Nation reservation. Any reservation that you go to, you'll see them. But past those alcoholisms for the families, the mothers, the fathers, the brothers, the sisters that lay await and see the stuff that happens in the community. We are the ones that are there. So you can't just bunch a whole. This whole thing is about breaking barriers, of having Native Americans put on the map, having my culture put on the map, sharing stories, learning as I go, because I'm a city Indian to where, don't even not even know my language. I know more Lakota Sioux than I do my own language. That's because I started walking the red road. I started going to the Inipis. I started going Inipis, the sweat lodge, the Inipi ceremonies, the Chinupa ceremonies, and started learning these different cultures. It was the Lakota way that saved my life. So it brought me back to where I am. And don't get me wrong, I'm still brownwash. I still got the Vadio vibe to me, still got the Cholo vibe to me, but it is what it is, but I don't have to be stuck in that cycle of in and out of prison. And it's crazy. Only, I started looking back, 2012, that wasn't that long ago. That's when I got released. So I had to come up with something. So when you come out of prison with absolutely nothing, nowhere to go, no family, no anything, because I'm out here in the United States, and getting my life straight and starting working, my first job is a beef plant. Start working there. Second job was no. The first job I got was at the Village Inn as a cook. So I started cooking there, and then I found a job at the beef plant, which I worked 6 days a week. I worked 5 12s and an 8-hour shift on the last one. So it was 5 12s, 8-hour shift, and then I go work an 8-hour shift at the Village Inn. I completely started over. So everything I got, I knew I had to get an apartment, I had to get clothes, I had to get the essentials. Friends helped me along the way. My homeboys, I told you guys, dropped off a car for me, dropped off clothes, shoes, gave me like $5,000 cash. But still, sounds like a lot of money. But when you need to get all these different things in life, and to come home to that, it was like, you put in work, you do all this other crazy stuff, and you just won't. It's not worth it. Like, basically, is what I'm telling. My side of the story is not worth it, as anybody else can see from the other people that's been up there. You could ask them, it's not worth it. Would I do it over again? No, I wish I didn't have to go through prison to learn all this stuff, but prison did save my life, and that's not where I catapulted my career and wear a badge of honor, wear my DOC number. No, it's cool. It's not tatted on me. There's, no ink work indicating that I've done a bunch of calendar years, and something I'm just not proud of. And it's when you see the YouTube Yarda, it's weird that I'll watch it, but it gives me a solace of non-judgment. Like people who've been through the system, people that follow me, that know, because when I share stories, I can't share normal stories like everybody else. Oh, I went to college after high school. I did this, I did that. I got a promotion, got the, just all this other crazy stuff. And I can't do that. I can't share stories like that. There's stories I do share, you know, with people, you're kind of like, whoa, what the, you just see the different. And when people find out that you're an ex-convict and all this other stuff, they will use that. I got used that the other day through old in-laws talking about, hey, you went to prison, you used to gangbang and all this other stuff and throwing shade at me. It's like, man, go ahead and be mad at that motherfucker from the 90s and the 2000s, bro. I said, that ain't me. But also, did you see the progress that I made? And then they kept going off on like my past. And I was like, man, all right, well, block. Somebody secretly hating in your circle, you know what I mean? It could be family, it could be anybody. And trust me when I believe and say what I got family. I took away that power. Or don't be a loser like him. I can fucking guarantee you that family members would be like, don't be a loser like him. Don't be boo boo boo. Don't be like him. But now I took that power away. And I bet you that same people that were like, don't be a loser like him, don't ever use the example of like, don't ever start a business like him. Don't ever change your life like him. Don't ever get sobriety like him. I bet you nobody ever says that. I bet you they'll not say, hey, don't become a family man. Don't be like him and become a family man and take care of his family. Don't be like him. The only thing he cares about is his family before himself. I took that power away, and I'm super proud of that. And a lot of people see that. And it's heartbreaking, but you know what? What can you do? Well, you can no longer be used as that example as a loser. Nobody can. It's beautiful not having that power. You have taken away that power from somebody for them to speak badly. Oh, fuck him. And it's close family, and I fucking know it too because it's it is what it is. Just because you're blood related doesn't mean you're really family. And it goes from close people you grew up with, people I grew up with, people who I loved and considered family. I no longer even want to talk to them or associate with them because the way they treat me, the way they talk about me. And, and then there's certain people that I will cut out of my life. And it's more mentally healthy because you don't have to worry about these people talking about you, bringing up your past and all this other stuff. It's like, man, fuck that dude too, man. I don't like that motherfucker. But that was one hurt person, one uneducated person, somebody that was manipulated into situations. And I had choices and availability. So with the choices of education, these Pell Grants, all these different stuff that will help you further your career into different things, I didn't know about any of this. If you know what I mean, I didn't even know what a tax return was until 2012. You know what I mean? I've never filed taxes. I've never had a stable upbringing. So it's like, you don't sell when you're blessed and doing good. People see true colors. Okay, from the Lakota people is just having, what it taught me was openness and mindness of sweat lodge. So facing my fears, if anybody that doesn't know me, I have a huge phobia of heat. My whole house is cold. My kids are all covered up. I don't like to have the heat on. I don't like having. I don't like touching clothes out of the dryer. I don't like being around furnaces. So what I did was I faced my fears. I went to sweat lodge, and you go into sweat lodge. So I started facing my fears and started opening up. I started to learn the Lakota ways. I said we're learning the sweat lodge, the importance of the chanupa, of the pipe, of the prayers, and being selfless prayers. Because when it comes to church and stuff like that, it's always, oh, pray for me, pray for me, pray for me, pray. Only pray in bad times. Then there's in the Lakota culture, it taught you how to pray for somebody that really needs it, somebody that can't walk, somebody who's on their way to journey to the afterlife, somebody who's suffering, somebody who's addicted to drugs, somebody who's you pray for them because they really need it. Because the person that's sitting next to me is praying for me, so I'm praying for them. I'm praying for you. You don't ever pray for yourself and be like, pray for me. I need this. I need this. So it really took the mindset of selfishness of the way I used to live. I used to say, and the crazy thing is like, well, somebody else is going to get it, not me. If they don't get it from them, if they don't get it from me, they'll get it from someone else. That was the fucked up mindset I had. Was like, well, I'm out here poisoning my community, poisoning the families, ripping families apart over having a bag, having a fucking roof over my head, and putting myself in danger, and all this other crazy shit. Having, people plotting on you. You make a few grand, which really ain't shit. You know what I mean? Make 10 grand. I mean, fuckers at Walmart make that too, and don't go to prison for it. Takes a little while, but as fast as it comes in, it goes. Let's go to nightclubs. Let's get jewelry, all this stuff. Let's show the cops that I got rims on my car. You can look at me. I'm a drug dealer. I'm a gangster. All this other stuff. All that mindset. The Lakota way showed me how not to be like that. I've tried the Bible. I've read the Bible. It's a great way of living. There's nothing wrong with it. It didn't resonate to me because it wasn't who I am. That, as you can see in the background, this is my heritage. This is what I'm known. This is what my people have been doing to survive since the beginning of time, before boarding schools, before colonization, before anything like that. This is still running in my DNA. Now, being colonized and all this other stuff, and then going into Sweat Lodge and learning the Red Road. It's so much more to it, but there's the Red Road. You can walk it. You're never ahead of anybody. You're not behind anybody. I'm right beside you. So if we're walking the Red Road, we're there to pick each other up. I'm not there to bash nobody. It's not a fashion show when you go to church or when you go to Sweat Lodge. We're stripped down to your chonies, or sometimes it's you're full naked. You go into Sweat Lodge and you pray and you suffer and you give back to your people. So with that, it broke me down. I started crying. I haven't cried in a long, long time. So during Sweat Lodge, I just started crying because I started seeing the ancestors that were in the Sweat Lodge with me, that were holding me up, helped give me, because as I was explaining, I'm afraid of heat. So with that heat, I was facing my fears, and my ancestors were there to guide me, to walk me through. And you can't see the full version of them. It's like this person, like where can you see it? That person. It was like just the outline of them, just sitting in there with me, and it was beautiful, and it was nice, and it really broke me down. And I started sitting in prison and started thinking about it, because I was just going to school when I was in there. I just started school to fuck around. I was like, I don't have to work in the kitchen. I'm just going to keep doing this. And then I was like, man, I better get my GED. I better do something better in life. I don't want to come back to prison. I don't want to eat this food. I don't want to have to, bust somebody's face open or have my face busted open. And I was like, man, I wanted to, like, I ain't gonna lie. When you're claiming and you're out there and you're doing all this stuff and you go to prison, it's kind of a badge of fucking honor. Yeah, it's a real. Then that's how it manipulates you too, to make you feel that you did something fucking awesome when you went to prison, did your little timeout or the big timeout, and then come out and oh, where you been? The people that are there. Hey, Maxine, Lucky Loco, cook fried bread with hot grease. When I cook with yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Like I said, I face my fears, um, but I still get nervous. Like right now, I will not touch clothes that are fresh out of the fucking, um, fresh out of the dryer. Like, just I don't know what it is, but I just have a fear of it. So when it comes to heat, don't get me wrong. Yeah, I do get nervous around it. Uh, but going to sweat lodge, learning all this other stuff. Oh, tree dog, what's up with everybody? But yeah. So with that one, with learning the Lakota ways, learning the ceremony songs, learning the meaning behind it, and the how powerful a song is, how powerful words are. Like a lot of people, um, like when you speak something and you say something to somebody, you can't take it back. So with those, if you have somebody sitting here constantly telling you you're a piece of shit, or even think it on yourself, then you start feeling like that. You want to emulate that. You think this is the only chance, the only opportunity that you have is to be out in the cayes or in the yards or to prove something. And it's, the image you project is the one you have to protect. And that's something that you really, really have to take into consideration, man, because you're taking a selfless opportunity to be taken away from your kids and your family. I don't know what it is that people have make them strive, but mine was give them my kids an upbringing that they didn't have to live how I lived. They didn't have to go through the mental, physical abuse, the going to bed hungry, not knowing where we're going to be. They don't have that, and it's beautiful to watch. It's really, really beautiful to watch your kids run around and play and not have to worry about stuff like that. And at times, you got to pat yourself on the back, be like, man, lucky you really, really provided. You really showed these kids, and they may not see it. They may have not seen your childhood or lived even a second through your childhood, but it's something that you have to take pride in, that you have to do to um, to represent. So that's who, if you come to my channel, that's who I'm talking about, is my kids, the inner child, the healing of alcoholism. I'm not saying, that I'm cured from alcoholism. I have to fight it every day. You have to fight demons every day. It's not an easy path, and it's a lot better than falling in to that structure of alcoholism, falling into healing that way. I'd rather sit here and speak to somebody about my problems than dealing with them with alcohol. So masking my pain, taking away just for that little bit, for the 4 or 5 hours you feel that buzz. I'm no longer feeling that pain. I'm not feeling that shame. I'm not feeling anything than that alcohol running through my system, running through my mind. So that's what I deal with. I deal with alcoholism. I deal with past trauma. I deal with facing my fears, admitting that I'm weak, admitting that I'm not like everybody else, admitting that I can't function unless I deal with it, with my problems at hand. Now, that's something that you have to take into account whenever you get into these steps, you get into this walk. So when I do, and yes, I do believe in a higher power, and that's the great spirit, that's the great grandfather, that's a great mystery that takes care of me, and it's bedded in my DNA. It's been there since these long houses were built, since we first started our journey as human beings and the survivalist of surviving off, like he said, the fish jerky, the hunting, the gathering, the houses, sustaining horrible winters, just all these different things that we had to do to survive as a nation. And we did long before being colonized. We showed other people how to survive. And never made mistakes. Has shown these colonizers how to survive our winters when they couldn't even, they were about to die over that and the fake stories of Thanksgiving and learning all this stuff. In growing my hair long, I'm no longer shaving my head. Learning these stories of the power of having your hair, the honor of having your hair, men having long hair and showing what warriors they are for their people. It doesn't have to be somebody out there killing somebody for a set or a side. You can be a warrior for your people, protecting your family, protecting your friends. To a certain extent, I don't expect any of my friends. I don't call my friends anymore. Like, hey, look, they shot up my house. Let's get everything together. Let's go get a G ride. Let's go get some get backs. It's not the type of energy I put out there. The type of energy is like, hey, look, I don't have much food in my fridge. Do you got a couple ramen noodles? And people hit me up. I hit up people and be like, hey, man, I really need something that pull me over for the next couple of days. Just certain things of not having that ego, like, oh, I'm better than, a Mosh Chingon. And, when it comes to Mosh Chingon, it's like Mosh Chingon to the fucking house of my kids, telling my kids bedtime, dinner time, cooking for them, having them do their chores, teaching them life skills that I didn't learn, teaching them about credit, teaching them about financial stability, of not getting yourself in debt, teaching them all these different things, their survival skills that you don't have to go pick up a bag. You don't have to go poison your community and letting all this stuff go, man. Lucky Loco has to fight, fight off the aunties, man. Aunties be lurking, homie. I ain't gonna lie. Is he a good dude? Somebody that's capable of protecting their family. Like, don't get me wrong. I will put in that work if somebody ever harmed my kids or tried to harm my kids. Yeah, I'll put in that work for that. But I ain't gonna go put in no work for, you know what I mean? I've been there, done that, all that crazy stuff. May not be out in Colorado or out in California, but Colorado has their structure, has their stuff going. Not as organized as California. That's the motherland. Not knocking nobody, but all these different states. Even Washington State has some real ass gangsters out here, man. There's some real gangsters out here in Yakima. And they're not to be played with. They're not to be toyed with. It's like the same energy when I went to San Jose. They had more structure. They had more stuff out there. Like when you go to Oakland, when you go to San Francisco, you felt it. You knew it's not a place to play around and start funking. Because they would, you go knocking on their door, somebody's going to answer quick out there in California. Just like out here, you can't go thinking, hey, I'm from this part of the state and come to Washington State and start thinking you're going to start throwing your weight around here in Yakima, because they don't play that shit out here either. And, you see it all the time on the news. You see it all the time. And, these people are getting numbers I got for selling drugs. So why not go knock somebody down for the hood? Why not go, it's crazy the time, the minimal time they get for that 187. So stay out the mix. I'm out here, like I said, showing my kid. That's good, Chris. Like, he's letting his hair grow. You start learning about your culture. Plus, look like a fat Steven Seagal right now. I'm just kidding. But yeah, drinking some Wakalapi. Wakalapi, that's Lakota for black medicine. Coffee, caffeine, good vibes, good people, man. So, not, like I said, not knocking nobody that brings up these subjects. Are still living in the past and feel that they have to protect that past of who they used to be. You're no longer that person. You walked out of that life, and that's a good thing. So quit thinking that you have to impress these people for likes and shares and show what a badass I am, and end up back in, some of them even end up back in prison. Some of them get X'd out. Some people get ran up on. Some it's not a good look, man. There's always somebody that's bigger and badder than you, and you've got to recognize that. There's always somebody that's willing to step in that terror dome with you and give you your business. And you may think people underestimate others all the time, and it's crazy because I don't underestimate shit. Anything can happen. Anything can go down at any time, and that's one thing that prison has taught me. is always be on my P's and Q's and always be ready to go. And it's the only good thing that came out of prison, because I definitely wasn't the young, naive, lucky local that went into the system, and you know, just certain shit that goes on in that life, and I really appreciate. Well, lucky local, get back to work, man. I appreciate you, Chris, for sure, man. I appreciate you guys tapping in too. I just wanted to give everybody the great news. They're going to be going through a business. Man, I want this loan. I want this grant. I said it's a grant. That's all I got to do is show that I'm keeping my food truck in the business for at least 2 years, and that's definitely what I'm going to do. You know me, I'll be out there hustling. But if I'm able to go to Seattle, Bellingham, Spokane, if I'm able to go to Oregon in the food trailer and go out there represent for my people, that's definitely what I'm going to do, man. Representing the culture, Native American, A&B Native American cuisine, you know, taking very much pride into my business, my slips, my falls, my mistakes, my downfalls, getting knocked down. Guess what? Got back up, brush that shit off, back to business, back to getting it. Cause ain't no stopping me, man. There's no stopping me. I don't care what it is and what happens, man. If you got to start over again, just got to start over again. But you know, you get knocked down, get back up, and get it. That's exactly the mindset. Anything I put my mind to, I definitely got it done. And definitely, if I wanted to take it to that area, I put my mindset to it, and I took it to that area, and I've done it. You know, it's you know, stepping stones. It doesn't happen overnight, but as long as you keep going, you have that mindset. Me, I keep thinking about something. I'll go in my head over and over and over and over and over again. That's obsessive compulsive behavior of like an alcoholic. The alcoholic I am. Obsessive compulsive behavior, but I put it towards being a better person. Obsessive compulsive behavior of becoming a businessman, which I have. You know, obsessive compulsive behavior of being a dad, being a father, being a brother, being a son, grandson, you know, something for somebody to be proud of, you know. So I know my channel ain't going to do too much, but I'm bringing out the missing and murdered Indigenous women. Pay attention to that. I'm definitely going to be going out and doing interviews, talking about what's going on in the community and what it is. You know, some people are going to be bringing back, and hopefully they, you know, get a few things going. But you know, like I said, you know, I'm not in it for clicks and views. I'm in it to show you that barriers can be breaking from the Native American culture and what we bring to the table. Because yes, this is America, and we are here. And I appreciate you guys, man. I'm gonna tap out. Make sure you comment. Let me know what you think. Let's get it cracking.